good. That didn't last long, but thank you. That's nice. Wasn't expecting more. Hello to you all. Very surprisingly milfy, glamorous front row. Hello to you, ladies. It is glamour, glamour, glamour. Peter Stringfellow down here. That's a. Dave from Yorkshire. You are aware we're not having a meat raffle during the course of tonight's show, Dave. I don't know whether that's why you're sat at the front. It's a different world down here, Dave. Welcome. Welcome to London. Kindly respect our culture. Where are you from in Yorkshire, Dave? No, it's just noise. Didn't even hear that. Sorry. Wakefield. I know Wakefield. I do know Wakefield. Welcome, sir. Welcome. How many people do we have from the north? Yeah, there you go. There's a few of you in there. Certainly enough for a fight. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. I like the north. I'm not knocking it. I travel to the north sometimes, and it's always exhilarating. And basically, if you haven't been, visit the north. It's a very exciting place. Basically, every 50 miles north you go in this country, you go back about 10 years. That's about right, isn't it? And so you get out in Wakefield, and it's always 2 degrees colder than you ever fucking expected it to be. And people are always a bit more chunky to protect them against the harsher winters. It's just survival. Perfectly reasonable. And people still drink and smoke to excess, which is quite nostalgic nowadays, isn't it? And what's edible's negotiable, isn't it? That's the truth. There was no horse meat scandal in Wakefield, was there, Dave? You back me up. The whole horse meat scandal was a preposterous bourgeois southern affectation. People in the north of England, and I commend you for this, you don't give a fuck what's in your lasagna, do you? You're just glad you've got a lasagna. I think that's great. I don't care where you're from. I think we can probably all agree that anyone that ever bought Tesco value burgers on the assumption that they were patties of 100% pure ground beef cut from prime cuts of organically reared cattle probably wasn't that far up on the food chain themselves in the grand scheme of things. Might, in a more sane universe, consider themselves lucky that they and their families weren't being used to bulk out more expensive meat products. I'm sorry, you become a bit more right-wing as you grow older. I should explain, it just happens. My name's Roger Monkhouse. I identify as some sweaty old bloke in a shit suit. I should explain. I hope no one's triggered by that. Evidently you're upset. Didn't mean to upset. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset. How old are you, Dave? I reckon you might be my age, but you've kept your hair, you fucker. Well done for that. Got a fine head of hair, haven't you? How old are you, Dave? 56. We're of the same generation, aren't we? We are. And it's a strange world to be old. You know this. Don't fear growing old. It's fucking brilliant. I've now reached the age where the NHS have started contacting me. I didn't even know that happened. It's great, isn't it? Most of you probably can't get an appointment. They won't fucking leave us alone now, will they? They're like vultures. I get 2 texts every week, like a spurned lover. And this week I got a letter inviting me to participate in a bowel cancer screening programme. I feel frankly ambivalent about that. What is it about this government? First they say don't send us shit through the post, and now there's no dignity. You find joy where you can. I've now apparently reached the age where I've started making involuntary noises about the house for the first time. It's brilliant. Little sighs when you get up out of armchairs, you know, you go, oh. Genuine delight you've managed to stand upright sometimes. Apparently I can't pick anything up without going, hop! And my favourite noise at the moment is, I think, probably when I step into a big, deep, hot bath. I go, ho, 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 ho. That's almost sexual. I'm sorry for doing that at you, ladies, in the way that I did. It makes it slightly more oppressive, doesn't it? But I say almost sexual. It's just a flicker of memory, isn't it, at our age, Dave? Just as the ball sack nestles in the foam, there's just a little moment, isn't there? Just a... Clearly haven't worked out the sensibilities of this room yet, have I? I'm sorry, there's predominantly younger hipster people just looking a little bit intimidated. I'm sorry to the young. How many people here are under 25? There you go, that's quite... Well, can I apologise on behalf of me and Dave's generation just for the state of the world, it's a shit time to be young. I don't understand the whole thing, but basically we've fucked up quite badly, haven't we? And you're going to be paying 50, 60% tax by the time you're our age and working till you're 90, probably, just to try and mend the hole in public finances created by our generation's unsustainable affluence. And indeed our unwillingness to let go our bony grip upon life. And we've eaten all the fish as well. Oh! What do we like? I do struggle to take it entirely seriously. I'm sorry. No. Good luck. I do get lectured. My kid, my son, he's 28 now. Very judgy. There's a judgy generation. He lectures me constantly about my lifestyle. I'm personally responsible for global warming, according to them, and he can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not saying it's not happening. Clearly something's going on out there. I'm not so brave as to swim against the tide of liberal orthodoxy. And it's entirely appropriate that the young should get... God help you, it will impact upon your generation. And I sincerely apologise for the environmental degradation and the hardship that you will necessarily endure in the second half of your lives. But on our behalf, Dave, I've done the maths. And clearly, by the time the shit really hits the fan, we'll be dead. Consequently, I don't think it's utterly unreasonable of me to look forward to a bit of nice weather before I shuffle off this mortal coil. I've massively oversimplified the issue. I'm not unaware of that. But it has been a very mild winter. I don't know whether you noticed that. So, who knew the apocalypse was so clement? I never mean to offend, please strap in. As some of you looking shocked unnecessarily. I do get this wrong, and I don't need to apologise. I'm borderline boomer. Sometimes I play whole rooms full of Gen Zs, and bless you, with all due respect, you have got a bit fucking mental, haven't you, as a joke? So easy to piss them off. I don't mean to. But at some point I'll cross the line quite unwittingly, you know what I mean? Because they've weaponised offence, haven't they? Hey? I wish I could get offended like the young, don't you, Dave? Or indeed aroused anything out there. It's just a desert. But the Gen Zs, oh wow, it's easy to piss them off. Quite without meaning to. You know, at some point I'll trigger them with my toxic masculinity, or I'll upset one of them with one of my microaggressions, and I don't even know what they are, honestly. Was that one? And they sit there tutting with their lustrous complexions and their moral certainties. And of course nowadays as well, their fluid non-binary sexualities. It's a puzzling world to be an old man in, isn't it, nowadays? You just don't know who to be creepy around anymore, do you? It's a weird, fucked up lottery out there, isn't it? We didn't know what a simple world we were born into. We just didn't know when we were young. There was two flavours, wasn't there, when we were young? And you made the best of what you had, really. Didn't we? Yeah, it was about lesbians used to look like me throughout the 1980s. Imagine that. It was never a great look, but you knew where you stood, didn't you? And now it's the prerogative of an entire cohort. And this is why we're baffled and indeed angry. This is why we get cross. Me and Dave, our latent homosexual tendencies will go to the grave with us in all probability, because you don't want to find out at our time of life you've been living a lie, do you, Dave? It's just too much to take on. And apart from it, it's too late for us, Dave. It's too late, Dave, for us. That's just the sad truth of the matter. It's just a practical thing, given that the state of it would just be inhumane to ask anyone to start fiddling around with my bumhole. It's just... But the fun we missed, Dave. The fun we missed. But now, you see, now it's the prerogative of an entire generation, apparently, to select your own cultural identity, certainly your own sexuality. That was ticked off long ago. But now, increasingly, even your gender, practically on a whim. You'll probably have an app for it sooner rather than later. Cock off, cock on, cock off. cock on. Washing up, cock off. Parallel parking, cock on. I don't know how that's never going to be technologically possible. I'm not a fucking idiot, but culturally, that's where we're headed. That's the point I'm trying to make there. If I have a point, I don't really have a point. I just spent too long on the allotment this afternoon. If you leave a middle-aged man alone with his thoughts, they just take a dark turn. That's just the truth of the matter. If it was ever that easy, you'd be mad not to give it a go, wouldn't you? That's the truth. I'm an old man, I'd bloody love a go on my own set of female genitalia. It would be, wouldn't it? At the very least, an enormous learning curve, I feel. Just fear I'd be back in hospital within the week for treating it too roughly. And there we go, these were fresh on last Wednesday, and they're stretched beyond all recognition. What the fuck's going on here? I've clearly gone too far for most of you now, haven't I? A lot of you came a lot of the way, and you're more enthusiastic than most, and I just sense resistance developing over here. A little bit of judgment from Harry Potter as well, which I never really liked. Just don't know how the evening will end, do you? I can't do fluffy anymore, I'm sorry. I can't do fluffy, that just gets battered out of you. It's just how things are. All the middle-aged men are just so much scar tissue from the car crashes, metaphorical or literal, that we've walked away from. And you just lose yourself. You don't think this will happen. Those of you who are young, you see, it's all ahead of you. You're in your prime and you think you'll never grow old. But one day you wake up and it hurts to put your socks on and someone's let all the air out your face and you've got to continue, haven't you? You've got no option, but you've got hopes and dreams. And you just assume that you will achieve great things, and then you end up just bellowing at cats in your back garden with your flies open. You don't want it to happen. Life just batters you, that's all. Your long-standing couple, you see that? Nurture that, Dave. Nurture that. Well done, the pair of you. How many people are married? There you go, there's a few. Nurture it. You're not, but you see, it's still a monogamous, long-term thing, isn't it? That's the nurture it. It's a great thing to be involved in. Your life expectancy goes up hugely as a consequence, Dave. Yours slightly diminished, madam, but nonetheless, you probably had a few more years than him anyway, realistically, so it kind of evens out. You got kids, have you? No, you haven't got kids. That's probably why you still look relatively happy and have the money to come out on a fucking Friday in London. Hey? How's the Travelodge? I don't know. Kids are great. Have kids. If you have the chance, have kids. How many people have got children? There you go. You should be pleased with that. They're brilliant. You probably expect me to be cynical, but I'm not going to be cynical. Children bring joy and glory and wonder into your life for approximately 10 years. Then they're cunts. That's when it kicks in. It's not their fault. It's just how they're hardwired. They can't help that. Even worse, they're monstrously distorted versions of everything you hate about yourself. That's what makes it all the more psychologically traumatizing. Boys are all right. I don't think that's controversial. Boys are a lot more simple because boys are, with respect, never that bright. So you can... They're all vaguely on the spectrum, boys, so you can just lock them up in an attic room with a PlayStation and they'll come out the other side. Whereas girls are enormously more complex. Girls, hormonally charged little demons who will lie to your face and steal from your wallet, given half a chance. My youngest is 15, so we don't communicate much. You can do the maths yourself. I'm 58, she's 15. It was an error, but you deal with what's in front of you. She just combs her hair in the corner like something out of The fucking Shining and just started. She just lost her eyebrows and had them replaced by angry representations of eyebrow as well. It's very disturbing. She had various friends around. This is a couple of weekends ago, and there's about a dozen. I think there's a dozen of them. And of course, they're all corn-fed nowadays, aren't they? So they're all 6 foot tall. It's some sort of growth hormone issue. I don't understand what's going on. Actually, that's not true. There's always a couple of short, dumpy ones for some reason, which is quite reassuring. So it was like having a mixed pack of judgmental gazelles and hippopotamuses just sneering at me for the evening. all dressed up in fancy dress as well, because the kids love fancy dress. I can't understand this, because we never had that realistic. This generational thing is affluence. That's why Halloween goes mental. She insisted on going trick-or-treating with a couple of her friends. I said you can't go trick-or-treating when you're 6 foot tall and you're literally looming over the old age pensioners that you're attempting to extort Mars bars from. That just becomes a criminal act of intimidation. That's just profoundly wrong. By the way, Halloween can fuck off at the best of times. I don't. Once again, that's not controversial, is it? It's culturally alien. It's like a military occupation where I live, and I'm sure it's the same wherever you live. The kids go just mad. The streets are just. I've become so. This is a tip for some of you. I've become so misanthropic on Halloween. I've started daubing pedo on my own front door. Left-handed in white emulsion to just to deter some of the trick-or-treaters, which seems to work. And if they do still knock, at least you know they're up for it. That's what I say. Well, that's clearly a joke, isn't it? Fuck's sake. It's clearly a joke. Applause is going too far, sir, I think. I think that level of support might mark you out. Cheers. So anyway, nurture the relationship. It's good for it's great to be domestically established, isn't it? I think that's what we all yearn for. It's easier to fuck up. Don't fuck up. That's the nurture it. Put all the effort in you've got. Don't fuck up. It's easy. My wife left me because I was too moody, which cheered me up, ironically. But too late, and you stop looking. That's the truth. You reach an age when you stop looking. I mean, you never entirely lose interest in sex, of course not. But the time comes in life, and I think we're probably both at this stage, aren't we? But the time comes in life when you just start to resent and dread the effort involved. You know what I mean? Hey, have you ever seen two old people having sex? Have you, madam? Of course not. No one wants to watch that sort of shit. It's horrible. It's not even a category on Pornhub, for fuck's sake. It's horrible. I look like a tortoise trapped on barbed wire. It's horrible. And when you do get the chance to have a go at our age, this is the problem, isn't it? Sometimes it takes forever, doesn't it? And you're both there flailing around hours later, just dry and cracked and sore, just wishing for it to end, desperately trying to imagine what the whole crime scene might have looked like 20 years ago, so you get some level of closure. And of course, invariably, there's a moment halfway through, isn't there, when you don't know whether you're going to have to phone the emergency services again, and then you have to wait another 3 hours for them to come, and then the whole day's gone. Still nothing from over there. That's just great, isn't it? I'm aware this is a big room. I'm aware some of you on the periphery have probably been staring at me for 20 minutes now thinking, fuck me, isn't that the bloke that Vladimir Putin probably had poisoned in London 12 years ago? Looking remarkably well under the circumstances. Positively glowing. You'll have to Google that, ladies. It was a long time ago. It doesn't matter now. Voldemort. There you go. Voldemort. Works. Finally a smile from him. That's all that's happening there. It's a simple, silly visual gag. Tragically, all bald white men look like all other bald white men. That's all that's going on there. It's a simple thing. When will there be a harvest for the world? I'm too sexy for my shirt. Welcome to another episode of The Crystal Maze. They all work. I'm just illustrating the point. And by the way, if you're remotely anxious about what I just said, the reason I say bald white men, the reason I stipulate bald white men, it doesn't work if you're black. If you're black, physically impossible to look this ill. So, lucky black people, you're in that one. Visibly true. Bald and black, quite sexy. Bald and white, close to death. I don't make the rules. There was a delightful sense of anxiety in the build-up to that, wasn't there? Did you notice? And then a genuine sense of relief that it ended acceptably. There's more Guardian readers in than you would have anticipated. I understand the anxiety. I do look a bit racist, but I'm not, so fuck you. It's become de rigueur recently. I should just end by saying this. And I appreciate the young not looking at your phones. I do appreciate that because your concentration's fucked, and I know you want to be looking at your phones. Because the whole world's online. This is the point I'm making. Me and Dave, of course, we're from a different era, aren't we? We feel quite nostalgic about a long-lost, more innocent time when we'd come out without our phones, and it was great because you could just make shit up, couldn't you? Without someone Googling what you just said and making you look like a prick. It was brilliant. You'll never know those days, but now the whole world's online, and you'll see this. If it doesn't happen tonight, you'll see it at any good club. A lot of the young acts who are brilliant and prolific and proficient beyond all imagination and incredibly technically excellent, at some point they'll strut on with their... Fucking hell, I thought a homeless man had wandered in for the warmth then. Yes, it looks good on you, sir, but I wouldn't get away with that realistically, would I? Go on. A lot of the younger acts, I'm trying to fuck off, go. A lot of the younger acts, right, they'll strut on with their hair gel and their fancy loafers and they'll thrust their hips at the front row in a frankly provocative and sexual manner, which angers me more and more as I lose my own mobility. But this is what boils my piss. At some point, they'll do the sting and they'll go, hey, people of the Comedy Store, they'll go, hey, if you like what I do, you make sure you check me out on the socials and follow me on the Insta. That's wank, isn't it? That's degrading hawking your wares. I'm a 58-year-old man. If you like what I do, give us a bell on the landline. That's your best bet. 01225 612 086. That's 01225 612 086. And if I'm not in, you can leave a message, as long as the tape's not full. And I'm very happy to phone you back and fill you in on what's going down, motherfuckers. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got a great night ahead of you. It's been a joy to share your company for 20 minutes. My name's Roger Monkhouse. Good night.